I'm calling to order the work session for Monday, October 16th, 2023, here in the main assembly room. Roll call, Madam, please.
Commissioner Lundy,
Here.
Commissioner Durrett,
Here.
Commissioner Oster,
Here.
Commissioner Ward, Commissioner Schoonmaker,
Here.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Lee,
Here.
Commissioner Beeler,
Here.
Commissioner Daly,
Here.
Commissioner Jay,
Here.
Commissioner Frazier.
Present.
10 members present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Also seated to my right is Vice Chair Gina Oster, Law Director Moyers. To my left is Ms. Haley Evans, and next to her is Kim Ellis, and they're with the clerk's office. I am looking, are there any elected officials in the audience that I should recognize? All right, seeing none, I'm asking Ms. Oster to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and offer the proper salute.
Thank you so much. If I may have a moment of privilege, please, before we even set the agenda. We've had a difficult few days with the death of a local sheriff's deputy, also with the outbreak of the war in Israel. Times have been very difficult in our country, and I have asked our resident pastor, Commissioner Beeler, if he'd be kind enough to please bring a few words just about what our most recent happenings have been and lead us in prayer. Commissioner Beeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would also take a moment to acknowledge that one of our own from the Gibbs community, Specialist Jeremy Evans, passed away in an accident, military training accident in Alaska. And we want to remember his family and certainly honor him for his service to our country and keep them in our prayers as they grieve his loss. Just in thinking over the past couple of days about a few words to say in advance of our meeting tonight, the Lord really impressed on my heart a scripture passage from Ezekiel chapter 22. And this is the Lord speaking through the prophet Ezekiel. And this is what he says. He says, "The people of the land have practiced extortion and committed robbery. They have oppressed the poor and needy and unlawfully exploited the foreigner. I searched for a man among them who would repair the wall and stand in the gap before me on behalf of the people." Officer Tucker Blakely was that man. He stood in the gap. He stood between us and the violent. He stood between the poor and needy and their oppressors. He stood between the innocent and those who would have robbed them of their innocence. And so as we think on this day about those who stand in the gap every day and sacrifice their own safety on our behalf, may we never forget the ultimate sacrifice that Officer Blakely gave. Would you join me in a word of prayer? Father, I come to you just simply as a mouthpiece and thank you for the life of Tucker Blakely, and thank you, God, for the way he lived it. Thank you for the example that he was. Thank you for his courage. Thank you for his honor and all that he meant to those around him. And Lord, we confess that we feel so inadequate in moments like this to offer any kind of help. And so we simply lift his family to you. And God, we lift up his wife, his son, his parents, siblings, all those who loved him, all the friends who loved him so dearly. We pray, God, that your grace would offer a supernatural comfort to them, a supernatural peace to them in these days and weeks and months and even years ahead. And Father, let grief somehow dig a deeper place for love to flow. And Father, we pray for his brothers and sisters in blue. Lord, give them courage and help them to stand strong in the face of anxiety and confusion and even sometimes fear. I pray, God, you would be their rock, and you'd be the rock they stand on and the one who goes before them in every situation. And Father, we lift up our sheriff. Father, I pray as he deals with those who are his people that you would help him lead with strength. God, help him lead with vision and courage and confidence, boldness. Give him grace to lead as you'd have him lead. And I ask you for all these things, and I thank you in advance. In Jesus' name, amen.
And amen. Thank you. Thank you for those words. Mayor Jacobs, I appreciate you walking in. I just recognized elected officials and didn't want to overlook you. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to amendments to the agenda. We have deferrals for item 27, 36, and 40. We have no withdrawals. Our non-consent are currently 1 through 6, 21, 22, 52, 53, and 54. Item number 2 will be a presentation next week. And we've also had a request to move not off of the consent agenda, but if you will make a note of item 15 under education consent, we are going to also have a brief discussion after item 54. Just a short discussion about that. Do I need to repeat any of these? Commissioner Beeler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did Commissioner Schoonmaker's item, did it still need to be pulled off? I believe it was 27. Did you read 27? If you did, I missed it.
Yeah, 27 has been
That one
deferred.
does still need to be.
It's
Okay,
been
thank you.
deferred.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On item number 15, should the contingent from Knox County Schools stay to the end of the meeting so that that item can be heard? Or do we want to have it during the regular agenda format?
What's your preference, Commissioner Frazier?
I would hate for our folks from the schools having to stay until the end. If we could just pull it from consent and have just a discussion, no motion or anything, just a discussion.
All right. If there's no objection, then we will have a brief few moments about that before we approve our consent agenda then. Is that satisfactory? All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Are there any questions or comments about the agenda as it's now presented? Commissioner Schoonmaker? All right. All right. May I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Frazier, second by Jay. Seeing no lights, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Also, before we begin, as a professional courtesy, Chris Davis is in the audience, and he had asked me if he could address us briefly as our Election Commission Director with a few words. So please come forward, sir.
Good afternoon. Chris Davis, 300 Main Street, Knoxville. Appreciate you taking me out of order. I know your time is valuable, so I will, as I always do, speak quickly. Madam Chair and members of Commission, thank you for your time today. I want to spend just a couple of minutes delivering basically what amounts to a public service announcement. Today, October the 16th, was the first day that petitions were issued for the 14 offices that will be on the 2024 Knox County primary ballot. Those 14 offices are Criminal Court Judge, Division 2, County Commission, Districts 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, the Assessor of Property, the County Law Director, and Board of Education Districts 2, 3, 5, and 8. Interested candidates have until Thursday, December the 14th, 2023 at noon to return a petition. Do not return one at 12:01 because you will be late. 18 individuals have picked up thus far. So we have had a busy first day of petitions being picked up. Early voting will begin on Valentine's Day, so you can take your sweetie or loved one to early vote. I hope you do. And you will run through February the 27th. Election Day will be Super Tuesday, March the 5th, 2024. I just want to share two other quick pieces of business that I thought both the Commission as well as members of the public may be interested in. First off, I will go ahead and tell everybody there will be a number of polling place changes, Election Day polling place changes forthcoming from the Election Commission at its November 17th meeting. As always, the public is invited to attend, and we will publicize those changes in as many places as possible, including notifying each active voter if a change affects them. And although I am not at liberty to discuss all of them because I'm still in negotiations with some folks, I will tell you that because of the Town of Farragut's building closing for construction, that will be one that we're looking at alternative spots, and actually one from Madam Chair Terry Hill's suggestion. We will be suggesting that we move from Carnes Middle to Carnes Elementary because of ADA issues and basically making sure that we can get folks in and out of that place. And then lastly, as we always do before large elections, the Election Commission will be recruiting Election Day workers for the 2024 election cycle. I believe this is a good opportunity for community members interested in how elections operate, and particularly those individuals skeptical of the process, to get involved. I have many people working for me that were previously weary of the process because of something they read online or something they saw on cable news. I would ask that you please share with your constituents the opportunity to be a poll worker if the opportunity arises. And with that, I thank you for your time very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I've allowed Mr. Davis to do this because I believe he has a date with the judge for, was it an anniversary?
24 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, moving on with before we move on with the regular agenda items, as we had briefly discussed, item 15, if Madam Clerk, you would read that, please.
Item number 15, R-23-10-209, is resolution approving a purchase and sale agreement with Brenda P. Horn and Douglas A. Horn for approximately 41 acres of real property located in Farragut at a cost of $4,892,500.
Thank you. And as a discussion item, is there someone from the schools that could step forward for just a moment, please? Would you state your name and residence?
Garfield Adams, Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Thank
Madam
you,
Chair, County Commissioners, good
Mr.
evening.
Yes, Mr. Adams, and I deeply apologize that I didn't give you a heads up on this. I think it will be relatively painless, but on that, I'll turn the floor to Commissioner Frazier, and then I have a comment also.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Garfield, and also, I don't know if Mr. McPherson is here, but thank you all for your communication. First, I'm really glad that Knox County Schools is addressing the enrollment pressures in the Farragut schools. That's, for as long as I've lived here, there's been a discussion about overcapacity in the Farragut schools, so thank you all for addressing that. So, but on that note, I had a couple of questions, and just wanted to hear from you all. First, I wanted to ask, have there been any meetings that bring Knox County schools, Knox County, and even the town of Farragut to the table to discuss the project? If not, I would really like to see that happen, because it then leads to my next question. Having been one of those community advocates for a new school, I don't want us to have another Mill Creek scenario in that Knox County schools, you kind of went forward with the project, and Knox County government, we were kind of left holding the tab for a lot of multi-million-dollar road improvements. And so I really want to make sure that those conversations are being had on the front end versus, and I know we're just in a preliminary phase, but I still think those discussions are important. So if you could just address that, and then I have a couple of more questions.
Certainly. Madam Chair, Commissioner Frazier. So first, I'd like to thank Commissioner Schoonmaker for all of his diligent hard work working directly with Knox County Schools, and also our board member, Ms. Horn. They've been very helpful in the process. We've had several meetings with Knox County government. We worked with them hand in hand. I would also like to thank Chris Caldwell and Jim Snowden for all of their due diligence. We've also met with the town of Farragut on several occasions, and so they have been an active participant as we've been searching for land for the past, it seems like, well, it has been roughly 2 years. So they have been very involved in moving forward, and I don't know if you were alluding to the process, but moving forward, we will certainly involve the town of Farragut, we will certainly involve Knox County government, we will certainly involve the community, and our board what they will receive are several proposals in a presentation that they can make a sound decision once we get the input from community members, the schools themselves, and also the town of Farragut and Knox County government.
Do you know what type of school this will be, and what the enrollment numbers might be, and what enrollment numbers you hope to relieve from the Farragut schools? I mean, will it be an elementary school, middle school, high school? What are the discussions?
So there is no decision on what school this will be. This was, the sense of urgency was securing land. Currently, and I can share the numbers with you if you'd like, but currently we are at capacity. What we have found ourselves, the situation we found ourselves in is temporary capacity, which we like to call learning cottages. And so it's temporary, but we have been using that as permanent capacity. So the goal is to alleviate capacity and remove portables from the actual school sites and ensure that we have capacity for future growth. We do have projected numbers as well, but the current numbers as they stand, we are over capacity.
Overcapacity in elementary, middle, high school, all three?
When you come, because the intermediate and the middle school or in one school, we're at the point of overcapacity. So what we're looking at is, and that's because of the learning cottages. So what we're looking at is what do we need for capacity for the middle school, the elementary, and the primary as well.
Okay. I appreciate you all being proactive in trying to secure the land. I'm just curious as to, I feel like you have to have some sort of idea of the student grade population that you hope to serve or to relieve the pressure from the existing schools. Also, I had reached out to Mr. McPherson, and he gave me, you were at the very preliminary stage, but if you have any idea of what the operational budget will be for this school, that's something that I think would be very interesting to know on this side of things before really trudging forward, even if it's just kind of a ballpark. And then I did learn that the schools are paying for the property from bond proceeds. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then the location, this location really is just to reduce pressures from Farragut schools. Is that correct?
We looked at several different locations, roughly 24, I believe, different locations, and this was the most suitable site to build a school. However, it is in an ideal location for the town of Farragut.
You said you looked at how many?
Roughly 24.
24. Were those all just in Farragut, or were they in sort of the west, northwest area?
We looked at the west, northwest area as well.
Okay, because I remember when we were advocating for Hardin Valley Middle School and also the Gibbs Middle School, that so much growth is extending west towards Watt Road, and at that time, those studies showed that the Watt Road area were really ideal. Has that location, that area been considered at all?
Yes, we certainly looked at that area as well.
Okay. Is it budgetary constraints as far as the amount of property or acreage that you need versus the allocation?
Suitable
For land.
land, suitable land.
Suitable, okay. Let's see. And then do you have any idea what the target enrollment would be for the new school?
It would depend on what
on
school that would be,
Okay.
right? So if you could look at several different options. You could look at a mega elementary school for 2,500 students. You could look at an elementary school from anywhere from 1,200 to 1,600 students. You could look at a middle school that they currently have roughly 1,500 students. So you would have a middle school for either 1,600 to 1,800 students.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you, Garfield. Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, hold on just a second. I'm sorry, Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let's see if it's working. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Adams, I just wanted to echo your statement about my counterpart in the 5th District School Board member, Susan Horn, because she really needs to be acknowledged for the time and effort that she put in behind the scenes to secure this property for Knox County Schools and to get it at a discount as well. She worked extremely hard, and she's been a great asset to the community on the Knox County School Board. So I just wanted to make sure she got the lion's share of the credit on that.
Thank you. Thank you again. Appreciate the update very much. Thank
Certainly.
you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, Madam Clerk, I believe we are ready to move on with the agenda.
Item number 1, R-23-10-101, is a resolution honoring and celebrating the life and career of Marshall Andy, America's Cowboy.
Motion to approve or move forward without recommendation?
Motion to move forward without recommendation.
Second.
Motion to move forward without recommendation by Jay, seconded by Frazier. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm
Item-
sorry, yes.
Item number 3, presentation of the quarterly Fire and Technical Rescue Committee report by Director Brent Seymour.
Good evening.
Brent Seymour, 1630 Huron Street, 37917. This is a quarterly update on our fire and rescue agencies that are providing service inside Knox County. As you can see on the overhead, that's our breakdown of our run data, about just under 4,000 medical calls for July, August, and September, about 1,700 what we consider other responses, so your lift assist, your hazardous materials calls, anything really that doesn't constitute a medical emergency or a fire emergency. And then your fire department responses, or your fire responses were about 595 there. But you can also see the graph there, just under 4,000 responses countywide for those 3 months were emergency medical calls. So our agencies are out here, handling the medical emergencies, dealing with the issues, stabilizing those patients, awaiting transport, and things like that. So the presentation you heard earlier is these folks are a part of that presentation as well, and doing the job that they do out there. And sometimes they go unsung. So just acknowledging our paramedics and our EMTs on the engines out there, answering those medical calls as well and helping those folks get the help they need. They're really doing a great job. And to back that up, our agencies did a little over 4,000 hours of training in the last 90 days. I know when we see them out doing some type of rescue or a car wreck or something like that, they make it look easy. Well, they make those look easy because of the training that they have to put into that on the front end. And that's why they seem to go so seamless and so smooth and because of what they're out there doing. And to recognize some of our fire departments, obviously, many of you have heard, we had a tornado incident back in August that affected our Karnes community greatly, and also other our West Knox County communities, but the primary area of touchdown was in the Karnes community. You know, a 3.8 mile wide path, high wind speeds, level crossing apartments was one of the main areas of damage as you folks have been given in a presentation. But we want to recognize our Karnes Fire Department right there. They handled that incident swiftly. They put the right amount of resources on the scene in the right amount of time and to mitigate that incident. One of the things that we have practiced before, obviously we've done exercises in our EOC that involve weather issues. One of the things we don't practice often is the fact that a weather event or any event completely tasks a single agency. You know, usually when we exercise, you'll pull a little piece from this agency, a little piece from that agency, and we work out the issues. One of the reasons that our Karnes firefighters did so well right there, that completely tasked that department as a whole because of the destruction in that community. And they handled that superior with really limited or no issues at all. Obviously, we had an after-action report, and we went back and talked about things that we'd like to do different. No finger pointing there. It was, hey, if we had one of these, or if we had one of those, or if somebody could have did this, we think it would have went better. So that was a really good communication on that after-action report for our Karnes folks. Knox County Rescue, big things happening there. We launched a SAR, you'll see SAR, Search and Rescue Team. Now, that team is, I'll give you an example of a mission. Someone gets lost on House Mountain, and they can't find their way back to the trail. You have an elderly person maybe that walks away from a assisted living facility and wanders into the woods. Well, you know, depending on where they are, that may be a huge task to go find those folks and especially retrieve them from an area where they may be. So that's a team that we're very proud of in Knox County. They are working hand in hand with the Sheriff's Department, or Sheriff's Office. They're working hand in hand with Knoxville Police Department, so our team, and even have been contacted by the National Park Service to do training and have other resources available should something like that occur in the park. So we're very excited about that team and having those Knox County represented in that way. We're tickled about that. You'll see Rural Metro. A team from the picture there represents a team on House Mountain. Again, kind of the SAR. Now, we knew where this person was who had an ankle injury, so those folks that are trained in that type of activity actually went up the trail and brought that individual down and transported that person for treatment. Several projects going on at Rural Metro as well. One of the biggest things we're proud of, and I'm proud of it too, because that's the community I live in. Rural Metro has taken delivery of a new fire truck. And as I spoke with Captain Bagwell earlier, that truck will be put into service 1 week from today in the Gibbs community. So that's my neighborhood, so I'm pretty fired up about that. In my former life, I actually worked at that firehouse up there several times. And that's a really good group of folks up there. They really do a great job. And that's a well-deserved community for a brand-new fire truck that will also put a piece into the reserve fleet for Rural Metro well to take a little bit of the strain off some of the operations. Our Seymour folks, very honorable mention for Seymour. The chaplain at Seymour, Adam Linsenbigler, was presented with one of the state awards for his service as doing his chaplain duties for Seymour Fire Department. Very proud of that. It was the only volunteer department to be recognized at that event statewide, and that come right out of Knox County. So we're pretty proud of that. Excited for that, excited for Adam, and those folks are doing really good things down there in Seymour. One of the big things about October is Fire Prevention Month. So you'll see a lot of, if you haven't already, you'll see a lot of fire prevention activities going around, all around the county. We have several open houses that have been going on and are continuing to go on over the next couple of weeks. So I encourage you to get out to one of those in your community and visit and show the support there. And there's a lot of education events going on, and this is really one of the times of year that fire departments get out and make contact and do, we do life-changing work every day, but this is really where you get out and you impact folks in the community, maybe teach a life lesson, save somebody's life 5 years down the road, you'll never know it. But an education component that someone hears at an open house or a public education event really does great work and most of the time goes unnoticed because obviously we never hear a year down the road that something we learned at a fire station open house helped us get out of our house fire. So again, just be cognizant of that. Get out and visit some open houses in your communities. And one of the things we would ask, as you guys do every time, is when you're out talking to your constituents, just encourage them to support the fire departments in their community. So I tried to be a little shorter than the 2:30 report you got.
Thank
So I hope
you.
that's okay.
Thank you very much. Are there any
Thank you.
questions or comments? Commissioner Daly?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Also, Mr. Steve Hamby was elected chair of the Tennessee Emergency Management System, correct? Board, you know about that?
So it's my understanding that Mr. Hamby was elected to the Emergency Medical Service, the EMS board for the state for a term. Yes, sir.
That's a big deal.
Yes, sir.
And Station 28, ice cream socials tomorrow. So go 28, get some ice cream.
I hear you've advertised that quite a bit, so they may have about 1,000 people there.
It was well attended last year.
And 28 would be where?
So 20,
It is on John Sevier Highway at Maryville Pike.
yes, right there next to the Weigels. You can't miss it.
Great, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
reports. Much appreciated. Next item.
Item number 4, line item transfers, total amount. Next item is approval of minutes from the previous meeting held on, approval of minutes from the previous meeting.
All right, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Frazier, second by Oster. I'm sorry, Durrett. Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item, number 4, line item transfers, total amount of $100,620.
Motion to move forward without recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Jay, second by Schoonmaker. Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item number 5, budget amendments, total amount of $3,100,000.
Motion to move forward without recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Jay, second by Schoonmaker. Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6 is spread of record of the Knox County Sheriff's reappointment of Wade Russell, Rusty Goddard, to serve on the Knox County Ethics Committee, which term expires October 31st, 2027.
Next item, please.
Item number 21, R-23-10-110, is a resolution appointing 2 individuals to the Knox County Ethics Committee. Terms expire October 31st, 2027.
Thank you. I apologize. Is there a comment?
Yeah, do we need to do the education consent agenda? Nothing? Okay. Okay.
Are we squared away? Thank you. Thank you. All right, looking at item 21, these are two openings that we actually have that we will be appointing on our Knox County Ethics Commission Committee. I believe that you all have the resumes in front of you. I had been asked, and I'm happy to do it, and we'll also go over it again next week for the board members and also for the candidates about the procedure that will be used since we have two nominees. This is in fact the way it will proceed. The clerk will call the roll, and as your name is called, you may nominate a candidate or pass. Once we have gone down the roll, the chair will look for a motion to cease nominations. The clerk will again call the roll. This time you will say the name of the candidate in which you would like to vote. If a candidate receives a majority, that person will be appointed to the position. If there is no majority, the candidate with the lowest number of votes will drop off, and we will repeat the process.
Madam Chair, I have a quick question.
Yes,
Are we going to
certainly.
be voting this meeting, or will that be next week?
It will be next week.
Okay,
It will
thank
be
you.
next week. Several of the applicants are here tonight, and those that I spoke to personally, no, my apologies.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted a quick clarification. We will appoint each seat separately, correct? We'll have a vote for the first one, then we'll start the whole process over, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, that
Okay.
would absolutely be correct. All right, and are there any more comments or questions on the procedure? All right. As you all have noticed, we have Ms. Sharon sitting in for Drusilla tonight. So she has been out this week, so there's been perhaps a glitch or two. I cannot say for certain that every person that sent in an application for the Ethics Committee was notified that they could be here tonight and that they could also speak. So as I call these names, I'm inviting them forward. I'll give them 3 minutes to speak and open the floor to any questions. If a candidate is not here tonight, please keep in mind it may be because they were not appropriately notified about that, but they will be given a chance to speak next week. Is there any objection to that? All right. The candidates we have are Jesse R. Cragwell, Crystal Gibson, Marcus Hillard, Sean Murphy, and Joseph Ruffalo. Is Jesse Cragwell here tonight? If you'd please come forward and state your name and residence, and we will give you 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Jesse R. Cragwell, and I live at 10368 Harrison Springs Lane, Knoxville, 37932. And good afternoon, and again, thank you for considering me for the Ethics Committee vacancy. I've applied essentially for two primary reasons. The first is I believe that transparency, accountability, and due process are essential functions of an effective democratic government. When citizens are aware of government officials and what they're doing, then they're more confident in the decisions that are being made on their behalf. However, when public officials operate outside of those established parameters, the mechanisms of accountability then serve to protect the institution of government and ensure that individuals don't abuse those powers. And that's where I believe this committee comes into play. As a citizen, I believe that I can help ensure public employees conduct themselves according to the policies and the procedures that are supposed to govern their behavior in office. And I also believe that it's important that we ensure due process, which is to make sure that there's equitable treatment of all individuals, regardless of their position within society. But then secondly, and more personally, the reason why I'm applying is that I think that I'm somewhat confident in applying for one of these vacancies because I too am a public servant, serving as both a federal employee and a state employee. As a professor of political science at Pellissippi State Community College, I fully understand the need for people to trust those who have been elected or those who have been appointed into public positions. But similarly, as a 20-year veteran in the United States military, I'm intimately aware of the complexities and the difficulties that are associated with stewarding power that is granted to individuals in the public sector. And so by serving on this committee, I believe that I can provide a necessary service to both the people of the county, but also the institutions of government that govern our daily lives. And so with that, I welcome any questions that you have regarding my qualifications or my interest in this position.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions of this candidate? Commissioner Daly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Cragwell, are you on social media or any type of media?
Only to the extent, one social media that I have is Instagram.
Yeah, well, part of being part of the, to me, part of the ethics committee is that under your social media or anyone's social media or blogs or whatever, you've got to be able to sit up here and judge somebody else in your social media, your blogs, your things like that come into play. And I just wanted to see if you had one. I want to know what it is so I can go and look at it.
Full disclosure.
Well, Instagram is fine.
Full disclosure, it's an Instagram account that I record videos of me scaring my children. I do not post. I do not post anything outside of those videos. So there is no public communication. It is I scare my kids. That's my Instagram handle. So it's out there now. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Cragwell, have you lived at your current address for almost 10 years now?
Yes, sir. It'll actually be 10 years in November.
Okay. And I noticed you have a very, very extensive educational background in political science. You teach classes in political science, undergraduate courses, and American government.
Yes, sir.
Everyone sitting here today is an elected official in Knox County, and we wouldn't be sitting in our position if people didn't go to vote.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm a little perplexed when the Knox County Election Commission sent me the background on your voting record.
Yes, sir.
And it shows for the last 10 years, you've not voted in Knox County at all. And it says you just registered to vote at Ball Camp Elementary School on June of this year.
That's correct, sir.
Is there,
the
is there a
reasons
reason
behind
for
doing
somebody
that,
that knows
absolutely.
government and political science why you would not want to exercise your right to vote?
Well, I completely understand that, and I think that's a very fair question. The reason why I have not voted is because I believe that the commission that I took as an officer in the United States Army requires me to uphold the laws that have been commissioned over me by the officers that are appointed. And for personal reasons, I've chosen not to vote. It's not that I don't advocate for those individuals to vote. I also think that it's important for me to be impartial in the classroom, and for the very same ability that you have to look at my voting record, so can my students do that. And I want to make sure that they can't ever see me as being advocating one political side or the other. Doesn't mean that I don't have personal opinions. I just don't feel that it's required that I need to advocate or that I need to express those reasons in the public sector or for voting. So that's a personal decision that I've made. It's not something that I disagree with. It's just something that, as I've been an officer in the United States Army, I think that it's important for me to be above reproach and to not give the side of partiality for one side or the other.
Okay. And then when did you leave the armed services?
I'm still in.
Still in? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a
Thank
lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve right now.
Thank you.
Commissioner Durrett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Quagwall, thank you for being here and for putting your name in the hat for this appointment. I do have one question. Please describe an instance where a decision you made may not have been the popular decision, but was the right decision.
Is that in my current position or just in general?
In general. You
Okay.
can use it how you wish.
Well, right now I've actually had to go through a situation where I serve as the chair of a subcommittee that's responsible for reviewing all of the learning outcomes for social and behavioral sciences in all community colleges throughout the state of Tennessee. And there are a number of individuals within several colleges that felt that it was important for us to advocate for learning outcomes that actually deviate from what the Tennessee Board of Regents has required us to do. it was the less popular decision because it was forcing us, or was at least encouraging us, to go against the policies that were established over us. And so I had to make the decision that we weren't going to address a number of those issues because of the position that I had in the subcommittee. And so despite the fact that there were some strong calls for us to make some changes to the learning outcomes, because of the policies that are in place that do govern our institution and do govern the work on our subcommittee, I felt that it was important for me to make sure that I did not break or violate any of those rules.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you very much.
What do you think the most important role is if you were selected to be part of the Ethics Committee? What do you think the most important element of your position will be over a 4-year period?
I think there's a difference between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, and I know that there are a lot of legal policies and procedures that have been put in place, and ensuring that when we look at a particular issue or when we look at what the role this committee is supposed to fulfill, there are going to be instances where we have to make hard decisions where we're trying to understand the intent behind what was being done. And so I think that it's important for us to understand and allow due process to be carried out to ensure that these individuals are given the opportunity to present their case, and also to ensure that what they're doing and the performance that or the ability to perform their positions, that they're again adhering to these policies. So I think that we also have to remember there is the letter of the law, that these policies and these procedures are governing the work that you do and the work of a number of public citizens or public officials. But at the same time, there's the spirit behind that, and we just have to remember to keep that fine, delicate balance in mind.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for coming and presenting.
Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it.
Our next candidate is Crystal Gibson. Give your name and address, please. You have 3 minutes.
Crystal Gibson, 8305 Chauvin Lane, that's Chauvin Lane. I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm the one over there coughing. I've tried to stay away. I would introduce myself, but I didn't want to spread the joy to all of you guys and gals tonight. So I didn't have a speech prepared. I didn't know I was supposed to do that, but regardless, I'll do what I do best, which is talk. I put in for the Ethics Committee because I believe, I echo his sentiments, the gentleman that came before me. I believe in fair and transparent government. I also believe that elected officials, both elected and appointed, as well as the people falling under their purview, should be held accountable and do have a responsibility to the people in which they serve. So that's one of the primary reasons that I chose. And I also believe in impartial and fair transparency as far as any accusations may go, as far as if someone were to receive an ethics complaint. I believe that we need to be fair and just to those people as well.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions? Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you. I thought you were going to defer to him. Ms. Gibson,
Sir?
you have probably one of the most amazing track records as far as a voter registration card that I've ever seen in Knox County.
Thank you, sir.
The record stopped back at when you were 21 years old, but I don't believe you've missed a county primary or a county general or a presidential election since you were 21 years old. So that's very impressive. I just want you to know that.
Thank you, sir, and it's because I lived out of state.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Daly?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe that was 4 years ago, right?
I wish.
Same question. Social media.
Yes, sir.
As a ethics member, you're going to set in judgment, and it's kind of hard to judge if you're judging people on social media anytime. Are you on social media? And if so, explain which one.
I am. I'm on a lot of them. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. But the Snapchat is like, I'll echo him. I stalk my children. And I also only post videos of my cats with amazing music. But it's under my real name. I have nothing to hide. I'm an open book, so.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a question. You retired from the sheriff's office?
Yes.
You look too young to retire.
I did take an early retirement.
Okay.
Yes, I did almost 22 years.
Oh, okay, 22 years. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Gibson, I'll ask the same question. Please describe an instance where a decision you've made may not have been the popular decision, but was the right one.
Going back to being an employee of the sheriff's office for almost 22 years, I had an opportunity to serve as the employee representative for the Merit System Council of the Knox County Sheriff's Office, which basically is the governing body. Because Tennessee's an at-will state, we can't have unions or anything, but the Knox County Sheriff's Office has the Merit System Council. I was selected actually by Commissioner Jay to serve on that and with one other employee. And basically we worked on some policy and procedure updates and some rules and some regulations that we wanted to take a look at and maybe change or get rid of, omit, or change the language in some of those. Long story short, I voted for the employees rather than how certain other people wanted me to vote. It was the right vote for the employees, and I stand by that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for your service to the Knox County Sheriff's Office and for your service on the committee. We didn't always see eye to eye, but we worked together closely along with the other committee members, and that was it was productive and helpful, I think, in the long
Thank you.
run.
It was very educational. I agree. Yes.
Yeah, so we went through a lot of good and hard stuff.
Yes.
You have been around Knox County politics if you've been part of the sheriff's office and you've been around Knox County politics for 20-plus years, and on this role as an ethics committee member, you're essentially going to sit in judgment of some folks who may be the elected officials that you served alongside with, or know very closely. How would you approach that if you had a close relationship, or if you had to sit in judgment of somebody that you did work alongside with?
As I previously stated, I'm very, I'm always transparent. I'm an open book, but one of my mottos and how I was raised is I don't judge somebody based on your opinion or the opinion of others. I judge somebody based on the facts and circumstances as they're presented to me. And as I'm a researcher by nature, so I will dig into something as much as I can in order to discover the facts and circumstances behind a situation. And that's where my judgment will fall, not based on the opinions or the talk of anybody else.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Oster?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Crystal, for your service to the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you.
For somebody who's sitting up here on commission now that sat with you on the Merit Council, I saw you make the hard decisions. And, it's always easy for people to show good character and leadership when it's easy, but it's not when it's tough, and that's where you really see who somebody is. So I can speak personally to that, have always been impressed with your spunk and determination and to do the right thing, and I think because we're kind of the same wavelength with the spunk. But I appreciate you reaching out to this. I also sat on the Ethics Committee, and I feel like it is extremely important. And I feel like people need to take it extremely serious. And sort of kind of echoing Commissioner Jay, even though him and I didn't always see eye to eye on the Merit Council, I think I saw what you did to do the work that needed to be done. And so I just wanted to applaud you in that. And,
Thank you.
And just kind of thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Commissioner Lee? No. Seeing no other lights. Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming and submitting your name.
Thank you.
The next candidate is Marcus Hillard. Mr. Hillard, your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
All right, Marcus Hilliard, 1106 Glory Maple Lane, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37932. Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I could sit up here and spout a host of reasons for why I'm interested in serving on this committee, but I'll give you my top 3. Civic engagement. I moved back here. I went to school at Tennessee from 2005 to 2009, and I moved my wife and I back here a couple years ago, and I wanted to become more involved in the community in a way that I felt I could truly help, and this sounds like the perfect opportunity for me to be able to do that. I understand and realize the importance of being more than just a living citizen in Knox County, and the chance to throw my hat in the ring to potentially serve in this committee to me was a no-brainer. Second, the importance of ethics. It's incredibly critical as morality and fairness and justice are at the bedrock of our foundation. In my professional life, I serve as an athletics administrator at UT, and ethics is important as we serve a host of different constituency groups. So we got fans, donors, student athletes, coaches, campus leaders, a lot of opinions, a lot of people. So making sure we are carrying ourselves to the highest standard and having that level of accountability is more than just lip service to me. As it relates to this committee, we owe it to everyone in the community to hold our elected officials and employees at the highest ethical standard, no different than we would hold ourselves. I'd love to be a part of a group that ensures that we're doing everything possible to make sure we're adhering to the right ethical standards. And finally, but last but certainly not least, serving others. My mom was a longtime educator, and my dad was a longtime college football coach. And so at our heart and our bedrock of our family, we're serving people. So that's where the foundation of servant leadership in my mind and my heart comes from. The essence of this committee, I believe, is to serve the community by ensuring that accountability is set in place. I feel I could add a unique perspective to the already great work this committee is currently doing, given my unique background and experiences as an athletics administrator. And last but certainly not least, I have no ulterior goals or motives here. I appreciate all the work that you all do, but I have absolutely no desire to run for public office or anything like that. I'm honestly just a Knox County citizen who'd like to do my part, serve my community, and give back to the community that's done a lot for me in such my short part of time in my life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Questions? Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was impressed when I pulled your voting record.
Yes, sir.
Because I noticed that when you were here as a student at the University of Tennessee, you went and voted, which was great. And just so that you know, this is not anything that you did wrong, but because you moved and you were in Orlando and Durham and all that, they purged your voting records because obviously he had moved away. But what impressed me the most is when you moved back to town, within less than 60 days, you re-registered to vote again. So that was very impressive, and I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Hilliard, thank you for being here. I will ask you the same question. Please describe an instance where a decision you made may not have been the most popular decision, but was the right one.
Sure. I go back in my mind and I think about one of my mentors who says, you know, anytime you have to make a decision, a tough one, you know, it's always going to be simple, but it ain't going to ever be easy. In my role in athletics, we have rules that we govern ourselves to by the NCAA. And in a lot of cases, or in some cases, some people don't like to follow those rules. And unfortunately, in this particular case, there was a very, very popular person that chose to not follow the rules. But at any rate, you know, my role within the department is to make sure that our student athletes and our staff members understand the importance of following those rules and maintaining that level of ethical standard there. And so we chose to go in a separate direction. I had the final decision on that call, and it was an easy one in my mind because, again, at the end of the day, we're going to follow the rules and make sure we do things the right way.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Commissioner Daly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am on formerly Twitter, as X, primarily for work purposes, just trying to do the good work of pushing Evolve's branding forward. And then I'm also on Facebook, where I just do a lot of, not reconnaissance work, but when we hire people, I kind of go online to make sure I screen people to make sure they're up to the standard of the University of Tennessee that we'd like to have in our employees.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for applying to be part of the Ethics Committee. When I was looking at your professional affiliations, I noticed you've served on several boards, and how would you connect your service on those boards to what your service might be in an ethical role, because it's a different kind of board?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Again, going back to it, in certain cases when you're on the board and you're, charged with making some decisions like that, sometimes the decisions aren't exactly the easy ones, but they're really simple, meaning that you got a lot of people, stakeholders that you want to make sure you take in mind and consideration and everything. And sometimes, your decision may not be the most popular decision, but at the end of the day, if you can, make the right decision that you believe it in your heart and you can sleep well on it at nighttime, and it's for the betterment of the group or for the organization, then you've made the right decision. And so I think those opportunities with my service on those boards provide me very well to be a member of this committee.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Seeing no other lights, thank you so much for
Thank you for the
applying.
time.
Thank you for putting yourself out.
Thank you.
The next candidate is Sean Murphy. And Commissioners, I believe you have a handout also that Sharon shared beforehand.
Thank you. Before we start, can I just ask a question? I was under the impression it was 5 minutes, not 3, and I prepared accordingly.
Well, if I spoke to you that way or emailed you that way, I deeply apologize. It is 3 minutes.
Okay.
So if you'd please state your name and place of residence.
Sean Murphy, 716 Bridgeport Drive.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I did prepare a handout. Since I was prepared for 5 minutes instead of 3.
I'm sorry.
No, there's no offense. I'm just going to skip a few things on that, and we'll come back to it. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I moved to the Democratic People's Republic of Farragut stand 3 years ago, grateful to be a refugee from my former state. I attended a rally for the Biddle Farms Project, which is a big project going on there right now. I quickly learned Farragut's problems are not much different than everywhere else. The more I investigated the problems, the more I uncovered. I've lost track at the number of issues that I've uncovered. I put together an addendum number 1 of issues that I've brought up and can substantiate if asked in terms of either unethical or what I believe is illegal activity. I have been rewarded for the last 3 years by being libeled and defamed, including emails that some of you received about me. And the way I would frame this, and I would ask everybody who's going to have the opportunity to vote for me, if a dog chases a rabbit, but you don't see that rabbit, you have a completely different impression of what is going on. You can listen to rumors and innuendo of people who have never talked to me and never met me, and they'll have their opinions, which they're allowed to have. But if you have a question, feel free to reach out to me. Don't feel anything's fair game. I'm very transparent. Some of you who have talked to me know I don't pull any punches. And some of the things I've been rewarded for in my efforts, I received a death threat over the yard display I've put up that threatened myself and my minor children. I've had my car doxxed, where my license plate was put up on social media with my actual license plate. I have put up with abuse nonstop, and some of that's all documented, but you want to know what kind of person I am, you watch how I have stood up and what I have done. And I stand behind what I've brought up in Farragut, and I'm not ashamed of it at all, because what's going on there is really wrong. And we're going to find out in the very near future how bad the problem is. In terms of why I wanted to do this, I have 2 reasons. I think my background and experience is very different. I've never had a government job. Last time I had a job was 20 plus years ago. And the second thing is, I want to always leave something better than I find it. I have not been in the best of health. I spent 20 years suffering from chronic pain. I almost died February 1st, 2017. My gallbladder died inside me, and less than 10% of people survive. I have what's called an angioma in my brain. It's all written out. My time is up, so I don't want to go over, but I want to leave this place better than where I found it, and I think my background will do that for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do we have questions? Commissioner Daly?
I apologize. I remember to push that button. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Same question, social media, you're on social media, and if so, explain what you do.
I have a Facebook account I don't post much on. I don't use any of the others. I have a Gab account I haven't logged on to in a while. It's well known that I run a podcast. It was affiliated with we were working with 92.3 and 760 AM for a while, where they were hosting it, promoting it. It's well out there what I've said. It is an entertainment, politically oriented show. I've said a lot of things, and there will be at least a dozen or 2 dozen on there that people may say, I don't like that. Some of you folks on the county commission have been a guest on the show. So that's really it. I'm not a big fan of social media. I don't have anything on my phone. I don't use apps. I don't believe in any of that. But that's all. It's really only Facebook.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Murphy, I will ask, keep saying question, I'm not really asking. Please make this statement. Please describe an instance where a decision you made may not have been the popular decision, but it was definitely the right one.
I want to thank you for asking me that. I really look forward to answering this all night, listening to it. I moved to Farragut 3 years ago, found things going on that I think are wrong, and have labeled them. It's in that addendum. You can read it in terms of other information. And I decided late last year that I was going to take on what was going on in town. And in April of this year, I put up a yard display, which is in the other addendum that I've put together. Out of that, I got taken to court, found guilty of something that the town attorney admitted I didn't do, fined $1,800. I've spent $70,000 in legal bills. I was taken by an attorney for $30,000 to deal with a legal matter that is going to come up in the very near future. I've put my money where my mouth is. I've had my home violated, my safety violated. I have an individual who has written you folks, who has admitted publicly she's driven by my house like 60 times, I think is what it was. I live on a corner of 2 dead ends. And I stood up and said, I like this place, I don't like what's going on, and I did something highly unusual for this area, and I'll freely admit that. I definitely marched to my own beat, and I put up a yard display criticizing the people who run Farragut, and then I put a second one up after they ran me through a kangaroo court. And I've had to do this before because sometimes people who get in positions of power may have it go to their head, and I had that happen in my former state as well. And time will prove me right in Farragut, but to put that kind of money and that kind of abuse on the line tells you what kind of person I am, and that what I'm willing to do to stand up and say, this is wrong, folks.
Thank you.
Commissioner Oster?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Murphy, thank you. Of course, I have information and stuff of what's going on with Farragut and yourself. And I guess with going through the process of what you're going through and what you have been going through, I'm kind of shocked that you want to put yourself through this process, but, because it is a process. I guess I'm kind of wondering, do you feel like that you would be able to be totally transparent for one, but also very fair in an ethics situation if you were to deal with somebody who had issues with you like that, what you're dealing with right now?
I'm really glad you asked that question. So There's a couple parts to it. In terms of who I am as a person, talk to me, to actually deal with me, talk to people who have dealt with me. I am a very straight shooter. I grew up outside of New York City. I'm a type A personality. I'm actually very blunt, and it's just that it's my style. I've always believed in ethics. There's right, there's wrong. I've never worked for government. I've always been in the private sector. If I owed somebody money, I paid it. And a lot of these things can become personal if you let them. I look at it and say, the process is so critical. I complain, and I do loudly, I do regularly, and you can hear it. Some of you have stood in front of me on our little show where I was doing that. I don't like nonsense. I didn't like it when I saw it in my former state. I didn't like it when I saw it in Farragut. And I stood up and said, this is wrong. There's no surprises with me. And what's most important is the integrity of this process. One of the gentlemen before talked about due process. If one of you came in front of me and the ethics committee, whether I liked you or whether I don't like you or anything in between, it is more important that you get treated through due process than my personal feelings. And I can turn them off very easily. I always have joked I'm a big pop culture guy, so I'm a cross between a Klingon and a Romulan. And that's the real me, not the one I'd love to meet the guy that some of these people say I am, because I've never behaved like that, and it certainly doesn't fit me. But this is so important here because of how we're growing as a community. I came from a place that murdered its economic opportunity, and that's part of why so many people are coming here. And I saw all the nonsense that went on. I got elected in 2011, took on the most corrupt zoning chairman in the history of Connecticut, and 2 years later, he never ran for office again. I won't deny it was an ugly mess, but we were right. And there are people who like me who think I'm a wild, different kind of guy. I do my own thing. There are people who don't like me for the same reasons. One thing you will guarantee you can collateral with a bank and always bank on is I will be straight and I will be honest. And my personal feelings are never more important than our rule of law. And I'm very critical of what a lot has gone on in our country, not our county, our country. And I will better or worse, I call that out and say my piece on it. But if you want to know really what you're going to get with me, that's it. Straight shot. Call me up, ask me a question, I'll give it. I don't know how to do that soft-spoken stuff. Some people are teaching me, but I'm not doing very well with it.
Thank you. I appreciate your openness. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for applying for the position. From some of your own information you've sent us and some of the information I've seen online of your work in Connecticut, as you've said, you're a pretty straightforward, even in-your-face kind of person who is fairly aggressive when you're passionate about something.
Yeah.
How do you expect to, most of the things that I've seen that you've presented are very individual. It's you against the government or against Farragut or against whatever. When you serve on the ethics committee, you're going to be on a board of, I think, 7 or 9 with other people. That it's not just about you. You got to collectively work as a board. How do you think you're going to do that when your style is very aggressive and very, and you're one of 7 votes?
Well, you got a lot of good questions here. The first thing I would respond is, it depends on the scenario. When you're dealing with me in business, I'm a negotiator. I may negotiate hard. If you saw me in a social setting, and some of you, I don't think any of you have seen it, I'm a complete introvert. I'm not sociable. So it depends on what you see. What I would ask you, if it's okay, to explain what you mean by what you saw in Connecticut, because if you saw something online, you heard one side of it. So what went on there is there was a small town called Woodbury, which has been talked about in Farragut forever. I moved there, and in 2011, I got elected to the zoning commission. The chairman was doing illegal things, and it's very different standards than Tennessee, neither good nor bad, just different. By the time we had outed him and we'd replaced some members who weren't doing their job, he resigned and never ran for office again because he was doing favors for his friends and not. And he did some very dirty things to me, which is all public record. And he got me once. I got upset, lost my cool, walked out of a room and said, I've had enough, I quit. Never did. I also, one thing which I've never said publicly, but I'm happy to, I was dying. I was very sick. I was in chronic pain from a car accident for 20 years. I almost died from my gallbladder blowing up inside of me. I was 39 years old, and I was less than a day from dead. And I have this angioma in my head, which every once in a while, it messes with me a little bit. So I had no idea any of that was going on through all of this. I was really sick, and by only the miracle of God am I still standing here. And did I do everything right back then? No, but I did the best I could. We got other members on the commission, and I decided that it was time for other people to take over. If you deal with me in a professional setting like this, and I've worked in politics since 2006, you find I'm a totally different person. I'm actually very laid back. There are professional standards. I think your question is excellent. Even if you had no knowledge of me or any knowledge, it's a great question. Because, well, this guy, he's the bombastic type A personality. Does he work well with others? Yeah. I've worked with some of you. I've had you on my show. You can hear that. I've worked with groups in Farragut. I'm actually one of many people in Farragut. And we all have it's a fun culture. It's very different personalities. But what matters here on the ethics is, from my world, I see in the business world, never been in government before. I've been elected to a local position, but that's it, is we have to be, as a community, we're going to a different place because people are moving here, the economy's coming here, and businesses are going to look at Knox County and say, if they see certain things going on, oh, well, that's not good, that doesn't sound right. All I can tell you is at the end of the day for those, and I allow any of the county commissioners who I have spoken to, if we've worked together on something, you're welcome to share that. There are people in other offices. I've worked with David White, our alderman in Farragut. And how you see me now is how I am. I get loud and animated. I mean, if you've ever dealt with Italians, if you've ever dealt with Eastern Europeans, or people from New York or New England, we just talk. You do this. I'm Irish, but I do this. I talk with my hands a lot. It's a habit I've learned over the years.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the...
Commissioner Schoonmaker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Murphy, do you hold some kind of title in Great Britain?
I'm not sure why you asked that. I've never been to Great Britain.
Okay, well, because in your formal email to the Knox County Commission, it says, His Majesty Sean Murphy.
Oh, that's a joke that I do on the show. We talk about pronouns which are in the world, and I didn't realize I'd included that. I have some emails that get signed with that sometimes.
Okay.
So well, it's a joke with what we've got going on in the world today that we believe there's 130 genders. And if you listen to the show, I always get addressed as that. It's honestly parody.
Okay. Because the question was, because then it says here that you've not been employed for well over 20 years, and I thought maybe you got some kind of stipend from the royal family or something since you addressed yourself as His Majesty.
I don't think that's a reasonable conclusion. I would invite you, since you're going to pass judgment on me,
I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying the statement says I've not been employed for well over 20 years. I was just trying to connect dots. So did you want to fill in the dots? Or?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So I want to let you finish. Okay. So I've addressed the humor of pronouns. Having been not employed doesn't mean I'm unemployed. It means I don't work for somebody else. I've been self-employed since early 2000.
Okay. And I guess my last question is, this document that you prepared for us where it has the 3 banners in your front yard,
Yes.
are those the original banners that were posted in your front yard, or did you take the original ones down and replace them with this?
No, those are the original ones.
Those are the original ones? Okay. Okay.
So what's gone on is there have been a whole lot of misinformation, flat out lies at times about what I have or haven't done. Outside of Brian Hornback, no one has covered any of this. And what I wanted to do, since people are contacting the county commission, telling people that some very derogatory things about me, I'm going to respond directly and in a straightforward way. This is what I did. This is why I did it. There's a reason why I did this, and it actually succeeded, because everybody who is in Farragut now knows how messed up things have been, how the laws have been ignored, how I got taken to court over an ordinance that the town admitted during court I did not violate.
Okay. My next question, like I've asked everybody else, is the voter registration information provided by the Knox County Election Commission. And it looks like you moved into your home in April of 2020?
No, I bought the home in April of 2020.
Okay. But you registered then in September of 2020 to begin voting, just
Yeah.
before the presidential primary,
That
presidential election.
It would have been illegal because I hadn't been living here until then, so I couldn't lawfully vote
Right,
for 6
right.
months.
Just clarifying that.
Sure.
Okay, and you got a good voting record, so.
Well,
thank you.
may I add to that? Because there's a voting history before that.
Well, we were looking at Knox County.
Okay.
So that's fine.
I voted in every primary. We had referendums where I was from. I missed 2 in 10 years. Again, different system, different state. There weren't a lot of contested primaries. I voted in every election and encouraged about 120 people to vote in our primary process in last year or so.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
for coming and submitting your name. It's very appreciated. And our last candidate is Joey Ruffalo. Ruffalo? Ruffalo. He's going to tell me.
It's Joey Ruffalo.
Ruffalo. Oh, Joey, I'm so sorry,
That's
Mr.
okay.
Ruffalo.
It's pronounced so many different ways everywhere I go. It's no problem.
We have your name, your residence, please.
Yes, it's 11319 Campbell Lakes Drive in Farragut.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Dear members of the Knox County Commission, thank you for giving us all the opportunity to speak before you. As a fairly new resident of Knox County in Tennessee, I'm excited for the opportunity to give back to my community. I can say that everyone that I've met has been welcoming and embracing, and I'm excited to finally have the opportunity to give back and contribute to my community, which has welcomed me with open arms, and I'm ready to serve and make a difference. I'm honored to have this opportunity to address you today and express my interest in serving as a member of the Knox County Ethics Committee. As a responsible, ethical, and law-abiding citizen, I believe I can contribute positively to the committee while carrying out the duties and responsibilities required of me. This important committee of diverse citizens from all types of professional backgrounds provides a necessary check in the checks and balances of government. Citizen involvement in government, especially at the local level, is paramount in ensuring that our system of government survives. I've always believed that ethical behavior is the foundation of a successful and sustainable community, and if appointed to the committee, I'll work tirelessly to create awareness about ethical behavior and to promote it within our community. I take ethics very seriously. I was taught at a young age by my father what it was meant to be ethical, to judge someone on their actions alone and not who they are. I grew up with my father being blind my entire life, and I'm very much influenced by the way he interacted with people. He truly lived by a judge someone by their character standard, and his military background reinforced his seek the facts before making a conclusion practice. Again, another attribute I'm happy to have copied from him. My qualifications for membership in the Ethics Committee include my work experience as a small business owner and financial coach. My wife and I ran a pet sitting business for over 15 years. We were consistently rated within the top 5 in our local community. When you enter another person's home to take care of their pet or family, that person is putting a great deal of faith and trust in you. Having an ethical standard is paramount to success. As a financial coach, I not only act as a fiduciary to my clients, but also as a sounding board. Clients can be vulnerable, and again, they put their trust in you to guide them. Throughout this career, I've been required to take numerous ethics classes to obtain an MBA and various certifications. Lastly, I wanted to acknowledge my 10-year-old niece, Juliana, as an inspiration for me getting more involved. She recently decided on her own that she would run for student council secretary. She designed her own signs and slogan. She even went first, as opposed to me who goes last, when giving her speech in front of the entire school. She's one of the shyest kids I've known, and for her to want to do this and take it as far as she did inspired me to do the same. Even though she lost, she wasn't mad or upset. She told me she'd just try again next year. As adults, we're supposed to lead by example, but here I am following hers. Not letting an opportunity to serve my community go to waste, and perhaps allow me to take the lead again as a role model to her and her sister, Leah. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to express my interest in serving as a member of the Knox County Ethics Committee. I'm confident that my passion for ethical behavior, coupled with my experience, will prove to be an asset to the committee. I look forward to your favorable consideration and any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions, commissioners? Mr. Daly, Commissioner Daly?
Same question, Mr. Ruffalo.
Yes, sir.
Social media.
Yes, I'm very active on social media. I have Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and a TikTok. They are all under my business name and are used for those purposes.
Commissioner Durrett?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ruffalo, I feel you on the name mispronunciation all the time. It's fine. I will have you do the same thing. Please describe an instance where a decision you made may not have been the most popular decision, but it was definitely the right one.
Okay, so it's a personal situation dealing with my father who recently passed away from cancer. I lived in California at the time. They lived in New Jersey. All his family members were there. There's several doctors in the family, but I was in charge of his care. So dealing with elders, aunts and uncles who felt that they had his best interests at heart rather than my decisions, essentially. So focusing on dealing with doctors, getting the right care, and earning their respect along the process of how his care was managed. In the beginning, it was very rough. I was getting phone calls all day, every day from everybody telling me what I should do and not what I needed to do. And what I needed to do was what was right for him. And I sleep well at night knowing that I did the right thing.
All right, well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you for asking.
Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very impressive resume with your accomplishments from a financial side. That's pretty amazing what you've done over the years.
Thanks, sir.
And obviously you're fairly new to Knox County, but I was impressed to see that you had, after arriving here, had gone ahead and registered to vote and get to vote at Farragut Middle School. And you did vote in the presidential election in November of 2022.
Yes, sir. Can I clarify that I actually registered to vote right when I got here, but there was a misspelling in my name, so I was unable to vote in the primary. So I had to re-register, and I only could vote there.
I can relate to that, the misspelling of your last name.
Well, my handwriting is very poor sometimes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jay?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Ruffalo, for applying to be part of the Ethics Committee. What do you think the most important role is for if you were to be selected for this board?
I think it's a matter of being non-biased, right? So it's hearing the facts of the issue and the facts of the case and taking that as they are and really just focusing on that. I mean, you can't rely on there's background noise to everything, right? So if you focus just on what is in front of you, I think that's where is an important aspect of being on this committee, and that's something that I can do is, differentiate between background noise and what is the facts of the issue and the case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I assume you're finished, Commissioner Schoonmaker. Anyone else? Thank you. Thank you so much for coming and putting your name forward. It's very appreciated.
Thank you very much.
So all of you candidates, we will be presenting you next Monday for vote. Commissioners, what's your pleasure? Do you want to muscle through, or would you like to take a break? All right, all right. Moving forward, next item, please.
Item number 22,
Pardon? No.
No recommendation. Just no recommendation.
All right, I'm advised that we need to move forward without recommendation on this.
So moved.
All right, would you read it in the record, please?
I did.
All
Okay.
right. We have a
Item- Go ahead. Item number 22, R-23-10-111.
Hold on, we need to vote. That's all right, that's all right. We're both figuring this out. All right, we have a proper motion and second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Now, item number 22, R-23-10-111, is a resolution appointing an individual from District 4 to the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals. Term expires September 30th, 2025.
Commissioners, I have not received a name. Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Motion to move forward with no recommendation.
All right, we have a proper motion on the floor by Schoonmaker, second by Daly. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 52 is ordinance O-23-9-101, ordinance amending the Knox County Code, Chapter 42, Article 2, Division 2, Section 42 through 64, political activities restricted, to clarify that sheriff's office personnel may become a candidate for elective office in order to comply with changes to the Hatch Act. Ordinance number O-90-9-111, adopted September 10th, 1990, and ordinance number O-22-6-103, adopted July 25th, 2022. This is second reading.
Motion to move forward without recommendation.
We have a motion to move forward without recommendation by Jay, second by Beeler. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 53 is discussion and approval of fiscal year 2024 legislative priorities to be submitted to the Knox County State Delegation for consideration.
Thank you. This item is almost completed. I do apologize for the delay. Everyone has submitted their final recommendations, which is very much appreciated. And because of Drew being out of town, it was not pulled together. But hopefully, it will be posted in the next day or two for your review for next week. So, in the meantime, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with no recommendation. Second. Motion by Hill, second by Schoon. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 54 is discussion of October zoning items, number 55 through 61.
Thank you. I'm going to read the item, and if the commissioner in that district has any comments, please speak up. Item number 55, Commissioner Daly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Hunt's here, and I appreciate him coming by. Actually, it passed unanimously at planning, so I don't see any issues. And I think Mr. Hunt has reached out to some of the commissioners, so if you do have any questions, raise. Mr. Hunt waved. Is he already gone? I apologize. I thought that was Mr. Hunt back there. So, no, I don't, if you got any questions, you can get a hold of Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. Item 56, also Daly. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Item 57, that is me. It is 1.61 acres, and I will reserve discussion on this until next week. There are a few caveats. Item 58, Beeler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I haven't spoken with the applicant on this one, but I would just encourage you to read the staff report and the Planning Commission's notes on their recommendation.
Thank you. Item 59 is also mine. I also have a few comments, but I'll reserve them for next week. Item 60 is also mine, and I have a few comments that I will reserve, and 61, the very same thing. Next item, please. Well, I'll move on to other business. Sorry, does anyone have any announcements, anything that they'd like to share before next Monday? Oh, yes, everyone please, next Monday wear pink, wear your ribbons please, and also if you still have your blue ribbon. Commissioner Daly?
Excuse me there. We'll see if anybody can outdo Larson in pink.
Oh, that?
And I mean, he does pretty good in pink.
All right, game on. Commissioner Beeler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This was alluded to a little bit in the EMS report, but Captain Bagwell asked me to remind everyone they will be doing a rollout of the new fire truck at the Gibbs Fire Hall on Monday at 10 a.m. I won't be there because I won't be back from my trip yet. I will be back for you guys. I just won't be back by 10 a.m. But please go by if you can.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Schoonmaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those folks who are going to the conference in Chattanooga, you may not be able to download the agenda off of the Tennessee County's website, and that is because Knox County's IT department blocks anything that is a Google Doc. So Tuesday morning, when you register, you'll be able to pick up the agenda.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And without objection on our adjournment, I'm leaving you with this. You can never do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it might be too late. This meeting is adjourned.
Motion to adjourn. We need a motion in a second.
Actually, that's debatable.
Is it?
We are adjourned, yes, sir.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Look
Okay,
at
well, how
Robert's
come I got
rules.
dinged with that?